Welcome, everybody, and happy Hispanic Heritage Month to you all out there. This is the first of the month. Like Bone Thug said, let's get some people out here. We got first and foremost fan favorites, Dennis, and we got
fan favorite.
Yeah, we have a fan, and I think
Why
we're a favorite.
Why did it sound like a question mark when you said like happy Hispanic?
I mean, we can ask our fan.
Okay.
Frank, who's your favorite?
Hey, fan favorite. I got to go with Dennis.
Yeah,
got to go with Dennis on this one.
Yeah.
Fan favorite. So you've made the cut.
Yeah. Look at us. We're all back again.
It's just like the good old days.
It's the good old boys.
Frank's the only Hispanic person we knew to call for Blue Beetle, so
that's not true. We also tried calling your girlfriend, but she couldn't come.
No,
she was the first choice because she checks more boxes.
She was not the first.
Yeah, she has you beat on 2 Emmys. So
she has 2 Emmys. Yeah,
we were supposed to do this show last week, for the record, but Ricky left me high and dry, and I was like, you know what, we're killing it.
I let you know like at 4, like, hey, I won't be able to do the news.
Or man,
well, at least they left you high. That's pretty.
It takes like 12 minutes to get the news.
Then you should have still done it at 4.
I didn't have access to. I would have done it if I had access to a computer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But here we are. We let Blue Beetle cook, and we got some more news, and we got a full cast.
You know, honestly, if you would have had me on the show the day that you first invited me to be on it for Blue Beetle, I would have been a lot more angrier than I was. Than I am today.
I kind of, you know what? I kind of love that. That's your process.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly always been your process.
Digest it.
And and that's why I'm happy that you left the show, because you were always very cranky at the content that you digested like a day before.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you really always were. But like when you just need your time. You need your time to sit with something.
We should have just pushed our stuff a week back.
Like we should have. We really should have. I bet like all of the shows would have been more favorable.
It would have been super positive. I'd be like, I love Rough Boner. Rough Boner's amazing. Oh, no Mephisto, fantastic. I love that. That's
man.
Great.
Speaking of Mephisto, it's a Robbie Reyes Legends HasLab would have been shipping right now had it got funded.
It would have been shipping. Yeah.
Yep. I was all about that toy.
I bought it.
You know that
you did.
You bought the other one?
I didn't buy the other one because they took out the
figure,
Reyes.
right?
Yeah,
they got
the toy. I don't have the fucking car.
Yeah. I forget what the company's called, but yeah, I was looking at it. Ramen Toys. I was looking at it the other day and I was like, I could have sworn a year ago they said there was going to be a figure, and I'm like,
the car's still coming, but yeah, they definitely took out the toy.
Yeah, the car's coming, but without the toy, it's kind of weird, right?
Who sits in the car? You got to.
They actually have 2 versions of the car: the black one and then a Dukes of Hazzard-esque one. So
yeah. I mean, that makes sense. They're making their money's worth out of it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, in other news, like the current HasLab going on is only got, I think, a week left, and it's the ghost from they say it's from Ahsoka, but I have barely seen that ship in Ahsoka. It's
the scans from the show.
It's Hera Syndulla's ship from Rebels, and Hera's flying it like for like a hot second in last week's episode, but like,
is that the ship that has the spinny thing on the front?
No.
That's Ahsoka's ship.
Rise of Skywalker movie for like a second.
For like a second, yes.
Yeah,
and it's also in Rogue One in the hangar. It's in Rogue One.
I couldn't identify it.
I know.
Are we talking? We're not talking about Ahsoka, right? On the show,
we are right now.
I'm down to talk about Ahsoka.
I'm talking about it right now.
If you want a positive show, get me talking about Ahsoka.
Rather than say, "Hey guys, what have you been nerding out on?" Let's all admit that we have been geeking out pretty hard on Ahsoka for the last week.
I just went to the Disneylands, and there's a part on the Han Solo ride where they go to Corellia, and it looks the same as it's like Ahsoka did when they went to Corellia. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's neat.
That's cool. I
Han Solo died from a lightsaber injury. That's
It's
weird.
all
I don't
connected.
often see that
It's
in
like
Star
poetry.
Wars. That's funny. I've seen maybe 2 deaths.
I wasn't sure about the show last week. That they premiered the first 2 episodes last week, and I was like, I like it, but
because you watch Rebels.
Well,
you got some Rebels baggage, and it had to catch everyone else who didn't
No,
watch.
I don't know.
No. But I think, I mean, that's a fair statement. But I think it's because I like Rebels, which is why this week had hook, line, and sinker. Like, I'm all on board this show now. Like after the 3rd episode, I was like, okay, this is absolutely the spirit of Rebels continued in another season, and so I'm down. I think what was wrong with the last week's episodes was it was for the non-Rebels people. It was trying to get them up to speed, and it was so for me, the best part of last week was the villains.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to agree with that part with the villains because I think the villains are great. I like Deantwood. I think she's awesome. Deantwood, like she's fantastic. Except when she talks or when she flies, she makes.
I think she's awesome when she talks. I love her accent.
I hate when she talks, but I love when she fights. Like she's awesome.
What's her name in real life? The Deantwood.
Ivana something, right? Like
the actual actress who plays her.
Yeah. No, well, like I'm talking about Deantwood.
The actual Deantwood.
Ninja, and who else? What's the girl's name?
I forget her name.
I don't even know the reference you're making right now.
Deantwood's a South African rap group.
The actors from Chappie are not actors.
Oh,
yeah. Gotcha. But anyway, I love Shin Hati. I love the naming conventions too, like Hati and Balin Skull, because Hati's the wolf that chases the, or the wolf that represents the moon or whatever in Norse mythology, and Skull is the one that represents the sun. So I thought that was pretty cool. So now we have like space Vikings, I guess.
I like the mystical Star Wars avenue they're playing in. Something new.
You mean all of Star Wars?
I was catching up to. Well,
I love the fantasy aspect of it.
It's
brand new.
Yeah. It's,
like I was trying to
remember that movie where Palpatine summons all of the ghosts ever, and like he's gonna put his soul into Rey.
That's sci-fi. That's sci-fi.
Oh yeah.
I had to like explain to like Selena, like, hey, it's like, hey, this is who these people are. And as I'm explaining like what the fuck a Purgle is and what happened, I'm like just listening to myself.
Purgle.
This is fucking dumb, dude. But it pays off. It does pay off.
It doesn't. It's not dumb. It's super cool. It's. I mean, if you watch Star Trek back in the day, you wouldn't think it's dumb that there's like life that exists outside of.
It's the original. The original Star Trek had like the weirdest of enemies. Like it was super cool. It was really sci-fi, like with the enemies that it chose to pull.
But every version,
the Purgles kind of bring me back to that. Like same with the Wu Zambong or whatever.
Yeah, every version of Star Trek has always introduced aliens that like are just like cattle that live out in space and do not need air and all these things. And usually they have the capacity to travel great distances in a short amount of time. So for Star Wars to add that in Rebels, I was just like, yeah, that's just another thing you're biting off Star Trek, but that's fine. It's cool, but they're force sensitive creatures. And so Ezra Bridger he develops a close connection to them over the course of the show. And so that's why they're like, when you see them as a Rebels fan, you're like, oh,
I want
shit.
a Whale Wars show with Purgles.
Whale Wars. So actually, Dennis, what you were saying, that kind of neatly brings me to what one of the pluses that I liked, and one of the things I disagree with you on the Ahsoka show is that I don't think it catered to the non-fans of Rebels and Clone Wars. I love the way it doesn't hold your hand and say like previously on Rebels and shows like
yeah.
Like I love the fact that it just kind of drops you into it. So in that regard, I don't think it caters to those.
I don't think it caters. I just think it was more for them than it was for me. Right.
No, I definitely disagree with that, because I feel like there was a lot of parts where I was lost, especially with connections and relationships. Like I could not tell based on their acting what their relationship was. Like Sabine and Hera, the triangle of Sabine, Hera, and Ahsoka, I couldn't tell if they were lovers, if they just worked together.
Well,
like what they were. So
just to be clear, what I mean by this is a lot of what happened in last week's episodes was recap. It was already stuff. They actually shot for shot recreated scenes from Rebels in the episodes.
Well, then it sounds like it was catering.
So for me, it was just like, well, yeah, I already know this. But like there was stuff that was introduced that was new for everybody, including, new onboarding fans and stuff. And so
the peppering of Ahsoka, I think, ages better now.
Peppering?
Yeah, because she appeared in Mando too, and Boba Fett, as opposed to just having like this whole cast like newish people.
Man, she wasn't in Boba Fett. That was just some weird episode that wasn't supposed to be there. Okay, that was not an episode of Boba Fett, and you and I all know that. Okay, we all know that was not a Boba Fett episode.
You think that was like an audible? Like
that was the lost episode of The Mandalorian, dude. Come on, like that was.
It's funny.
Yeah, but I'm happy they're paying off. What I forget the lady's name, the magistrate.
Morgan Elsbeth.
Morgan Elsbeth. Yeah, house. Yeah, she comes back and she's not like a one-off character. At least she has some.
Yeah, she's a freaking Night Sister.
I'm a little weirded out by the part where she's a Night Sister because I thought that was all Zabreks. I thought all Zabreks.
No, they're not all Zabreks. But one thing that is kind of a thing that annoyed me at first, only because like I'm a big fan of the expanded universe, and I hate that they got rid of it. So every time I start seeing it rear its head, even after they got rid of it, like it's like that's cheap. That's cheap. You should have done that in the first place. That, like, why are you bringing it now?
Oh, the Night Sisters have been around since Clone Wars. Like they've been in the show.
Yeah, but they've been in the expanded universe since before.
But I'm saying like Clone Wars is like 20, 30 years old now.
Like, yeah, and you notice that I haven't watched the Clone Wars. So I was looking at how far I've gotten in the Clone Wars, and I've gotten like 7 episodes into the Clone Wars.
You're still in the foreplay of Star Wars there.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't get to the freaky shit till the end.
It's just
Clone Wars is like 20 years old, right?
It's pretty old. I wouldn't say. I don't know.
Clone Wars did not come out in 2003.
I don't think it's 20 years old. Yeah, 2003.
Episode 3 came out in 2003, right?
It probably came out just after.
Episode 3, 2005.
The Gennady Tartakovsky
2008.
The Gennady Tartakovsky Clone Wars was out in that time.
Was in like 2005, right? Or 2000?
No,
you're right.
That one came out right before.
The Gennady came out before the 3rd movie, so it is 20 years old.
Yeah,
you didn't specify
no, that animated Wars,
series.
Yeah.
No, but this show is a continuation of.
No, it's not.
That. Oh no, that one's not canon, is it? Anymore?
Yeah, that one's decanonized. Yeah.
But they took the art inspiration from that one for the CG one.
Is that what they did?
That's why they're all like they look like wooden puppets, just like like that was their weird 3D like interpretation of.
So they didn't have to render all the shapes.
Yeah. And did they save money for She-Hulk by using those renderings for She-Hulk?
If you don't pay writers, you can save a lot of
positives. Let's keep you in the positives, Frank.
Well, all right. Well, Ahsoka. What else we got on Ahsoka?
Let me see.
Or what else? What else have you been up to? How's your nerd week been going?
Shit, man, I've been playing so many video. Oh, sorry, you're asking me. Oh, I'm the guest today. Yeah,
I gotta ask you the questions.
Look at me, king of the castle. I've been playing a lot of video games, like older video games. I just
what's older?
I just platinum Disney Infinity from what was that?
Do you have all the toys?
I do. I bought every single figure, just so I can get that stupid lightsaber.
I'll buy the Tron ones off of you if you're ever parting ways with them.
Which ones?
The Tron ones.
I have Korra. I don't.
You don't have all of them then. There's a Tron, or there's a Rinsler. Sorry, there's a Clue and there's a Sam.
I have Clue, but it's unopened, and I do have Sam.
This is what you get.
Have you done like the bootleg? Dude, if you go on eBay, you can buy like bootleg, like RFID cards.
Yeah. You can buy like they just come with just the discs. It's not like a figure or anything like that.
Yeah, it's just like someone scanned the card.
I was thinking about doing those for Lego Dimension, but I ended up getting everything that I wanted.
You do that, or you do it for Amiibos? That's another hack.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I got most of the figures. The only ones I am missing. No, I do have Ezra. I did get Ezra. I think I'm missing Sabine because she was some sort of like she came in a pack of some sort that I just wasn't quick enough to get. But I have like Zeb. I have pretty much everyone from Rebels except for Sabine and Hera, I think.
I love that you have the toys and you've never watched this show.
I have the toys, never watched that. Because I couldn't get through Clone Wars.
Brand
Ahsoka was so annoying to me, but
that's the whole point of her.
Exactly. That's before I realized like that. Number one, that's her point, but that's also before I realized like character arcs and things like that. Like characters can be annoying when you first meet them and then kind of grow into something like
her arc is probably one of the best arcs that's ever been in Star Wars. That's why I regret how much I hated her in the beginning of the show, because that was the point.
Yeah, you just hated women back then.
But like
no.
But I will never regret hating her, because there's so many years of my life I've gone through.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I've also been playing Dragon Age. I played Dragon Age Origins, and I wanted to play all the DLC with it. There was this character named Liliana in that game, and she was like a former priestess, and she was the hardest one to bang. And they say it's a bug, but like I think it was because she was a former priestess. Like I gave her a bunch of stuff to butter her up, and then I'm all like, "Hey, you mean a lot to me," and she's all like, "That's cool. Well, see ya." And I'm all like, "No, we're supposed to have sex now." It took a while. Took a while to get in her panties.
Oh my god.
But Alistair was down. He was a down ass brother. And Morgan wouldn't touch me because I was a chick. So I had to play another game just to get Morgan.
You couldn't just like watch the video on YouTube. You had to like actually play it out.
I had to play it. Well, for the trophy, I had to play it out. Because there's a trophy called Hopelessly Romantic, and you have to bang all 4 of the bangable
That's funny.
bangable people. I hear there's even more bangable people in the later games. And you better believe in Baldur's Gate.
Wait, have you not played the later games?
I haven't. No.
Oh my god!
I never finished the first one. I love the novelty of how your saves carry over from a separate game to the next game. I like that.
But there's a comic book, right, that you can do on the website. The website you can answer all,
and that adds to your choices, right?
Yeah, and so that way you don't actually have to play the other games if you don't want to.
Yeah, but I think what's it called? BioWare Net or something like that is down, and so
it might be down after
the comic book doesn't work. So I waited too. I snoozed and lost on that one.
Yeah.
But it will take my save and bring it over to the next one, which is cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
But
Inquisition is by far the best of the 3. I never finished 1 or 2. I just couldn't do it. Like,
you never finished them?
No.
Was it you that was talking about the Iron Bull like a long time? How you had a deep relationship with him?
Wait. You know who the Iron Bull is, and you never played that game?
Well, I mean, I have friends that play the game. I never really watched it or whatever, but
no, I never romanced the Iron Bull. That was probably my wife or somebody else. But I did watch the videos of I watched all the videos
of the Iron Bull,
all the romancing. Yeah, but
who was your romantic character then? Who was your favorite one?
The Wall. I'm trying to remember his name. That's his nickname, and he is a warden. I'm trying to remember what is it? Wall something. I can't remember. It's kind of a spoiler, but he's this guy that you basically have a trashy romance novel like love story with him, where like he plays hard to get for a long time, and then eventually he beds you in the hay in the farm.
Oh, cool.
Like, and then like the next morning you wake up and he's gone and he leaves your party for good. And he's never part of your party. And then you find out as the story progresses that like he was lying about who he was the whole time, and he's actually somebody totally else. And I felt so dirty by that whole experience that I had to go and like find any character that you could still romance after you had already romanced one. And so like I had to end that game with a different love interest, and I totally got like a rebound guy. I was playing my character was female, and I was playing like I normally when I play female characters, I still end up hooking up with females. So like this is the first time ever in the history of whatever. I'll own it. But this is the first time in the history of all of my video gaming that I ever played a female that hooked up with a man. And because I was eating it up. It was like the stuff of romance novels, like everything trashy you could ever think of. And then, yeah, even waking up naked in the hay, and you're like, wait, what's going on here? He's gone. He left me.
Oh, man.
He hit it and quit it.
You're
man.
just preparing for striking vipers, man.
What a bummer.
It
Yeah,
was,
we're getting ready. We're ready for it.
But that was quite the tangent. You got me to reveal some very deep.
No, that's great. I'm gonna look out for
video game traumas.
I'm gonna look out for the wall for sure now.
What
I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind for that.
But I did spoil the twist though. So I'm sorry.
No worries there. It was pretty funny when I'd bang anyone else after Liliana, because she'd be like, "Hey, I saw you talking to Morgan. What's up? What's going on with that?"
What's
and
up?
I'd be like, "Whoa, just chill. We're just having fun here."
You know, if I remember correctly, Liliana ends up in the third game also.
Oh, does she? Cool.
Yeah, a lot of like characters either they show up later. Yeah, sometimes not as playables, but as different.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. But there you go, guys. That was our random word vomit for the last 20 minutes of all the nerdiest things that we don't normally talk about on the show.
I know, that was a little weird.
We don't have a soapbox, so we gotta make do.
Yeah. I liked it. We got revved up.
Do you have anything else, Dennis, or you want to go right in the news?
I think we should just go to the news because there's a lot of it.
Is there a lot of it?
I'm gonna be mad at you. I'm gonna be mad at you.
Did I grab that one?
Dude, if you're starting with that, you did it wrong. You did it wrong.
Man.
You turn it off. Are you serious? We are the Mostly Marvel podcast, and you are not gonna announce the engagement of Spider-Man and Mary Jane, aka Tom Holland and Zendaya?
Did that happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
They got like a day or two ago.
Yeah.
What is that?
They got engaged.
Marvel news.
What?
And B,
that's not Marvel
that happened
news.
2 days ago.
That's not Marvel news. That's not Marvel news.
That's Dune news. That's WB news.
Are they engaged?
Yes, they are engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Holland announced it. Yes.
I see no confirmed news. Show me your source.
Oh my God, Ricky.
If it's not on TMZ, I don't believe it. So am I wrong?
I guess TMZ is
I don't care if it's not on TMZ.
How would you know? Like, did he call you? Say, hey,
didn't he announce it? He announced it.
He announced it. He announced it. Look up Tom Holland and Zendaya engaged.
Call up Tom Holland. Let's get him on the show.
Yeah. I
don't want to burn that one call I have for him.
All right. Save it.
Tom Holland engaged to Zendaya. There's like all these dumbass question mark headlines.
This confirmation came from the couple's trip to Italy.
By who?
Him.
I think
show me a link.
No, I'm not gonna, because
I don't believe you. Why would I?
You don't believe me? This is how it always happens. You don't believe me until your source confirms what I said.
I should be able to search Tom Holland engaged, and that'd be like the first story that just confirms it. And there's not one.
Look at all these related searches. It's all there. It's all there.
Content, people. Well,
content.
Let's talk about this then. Fine. Marvel shuffles their TV calendar with new dates for Agatha, Echo, and X-Men 97. So stuff getting pushed around for the ongoing strike.
Are you guys excited for any of those shows?
Wait, but Loki's still happening, right? Wait, you're not excited for X-Men 97?
I'm happy for Loki.
Partially. I'm more excited for the toy.
What? I'm
curious. I think we've talked about this, that any property that's been dormant for like 10 plus years, when it comes back, it's usually really hit or miss.
Dude, so I didn't tell you, like, I went to their panel for,
you told me about that, but you also told me that like it moved you to tears, and like I'm like, that's like every movie though, so like I don't know.
That's not every movie. That's not every movie.
They
made Cyclops badass. They made Cyclops
cool.
really cool.
Let me recap it.
Yeah.
So Loki's still coming out, normal date. What If got pushed to December, no date, but in December. And then X-Men is pushed to 2024 winter, so sometime between January, February.
God
So
damn!
So you're telling me I'm getting a Bill Foster What If toy before the show comes out?
Yeah, well, it's like you got an X-Men toy before the show comes out. And then Agatha, that show got a new name, and I'm trying to pull it up here.
Wasn't the like Agatha and the lesbian of
It's the Tom Holland and Zendaya got engaged.
Agatha, the Darkhold Diaries is what that show's
The Darkhold
called.
Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
And then Ironheart, Daredevil, and what's the other thing they got going on?
What's the Darkhold Diary look like? It's all Dear Diary. Today the Necronomicon smiled at me in math class.
It's like the ones like the little voice activated ones. It opens up.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
pretty
she
sweet.
puts in her secrets. But yeah, you guys happy about What If coming sooner? Sad about X-Men coming later?
I'm totally
change your Disney Plus subscription.
I'm totally uncaring about any of this.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything. Like
changes nothing. But they're dropping Echo all at once. So that's kind of cool, I guess.
That show got pushed to 2024, so maybe it doesn't come out all at once anymore.
Fair. But I'll be glad to watch one episode of it and then not watch it, like I did with like Secret Invasion.
It has a woman from Reservoir Dogs. I didn't know that in that show.
Don't make me like it, Ricky. Okay, don't make me excited to see this. Actually, I like Alakwa Cox a lot. She's pretty cool.
Let me see if I can get you excited with
this
Aztec Batman and the Clash of Empires. This was announced earlier today at the Pixetal convention. It's a Mexican animation convention. But they're doing a Max Batman movie starring a Aztec Batman and Aztec Joker and Two-Face White Man.
Two-Face White Man. Is that his name? Is that his heroic name?
Two-Face. I'm gonna be okay.
Number 2.
I'm fine with this. Whatever. Elseworlds are fun. They're fun.
Yeah,
Elseworlds are fun.
DC animation is usually more hit than miss. Right?
Didn't they hinted at this when Batman died, right? When he came back?
I don't know. I haven't watched Ruby X Justice League yet.
What's that? I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's a new
anime.
It's an anime on
okay.
On Max. It looks terrible. Yeah, I would not say I'd say nowadays they're about 50-50, but they used to be more hit than miss all the time.
It used to be 60-40.
It used to be way more than that.
Yeah, I would say like 90-10.
It used to be I would blindly give them money to buy their new animated and then be like, I'd watch it and be like, that was well worth it. Nowadays, I'm like, no.
Well, sometimes they make like one questionable choice and I'm just like over it. Like in what was it, Killing Joke?
Yeah, I know. We know.
Yeah,
we know what that questionable.
But normally I like a lot of sex in the media I watch, but like the fact that just that sex is something that I don't want to see. I don't know why. Sorry, what were you saying about the strike, Ricky?
Oh no, as you mentioned animated movies, and I think Turtles is out for VOD now. It seems really quick, but
already, huh?
Yeah,
that's super fast.
Go watch that movie if you haven't seen it. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I heard it's good. I heard the teenagers are actually teenagers.
So that's they do. I enjoyed Beyond the Spider-Verse, or I mean Across the Spider-Verse, so much more the second time I watched it. That movie's way better than the first time. Still get annoyed at the end. Still annoyed.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna reserve judgment for Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. And who knows when that's coming out now because of the strikes.
Because of the strikes, yep.
Yeah.
But I like the strikes only in that it gives me time to catch up on my media before hopefully they resolve it.
How far behind are you?
Pretty far behind. I think playing stuff like Dragon Age and like other RPGs really set me back a lot.
Dragon Age is a time sink, man. That's a time sink.
Yeah, it was like over 100 hours with all the DLC because I did all the DLC too.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Nope.
What else? Now you want to move on to the sadder news?
Yeah, you ruined my transitions, so we just gotta.
You were gonna start with this.
We got to talk in this sad newscaster voice.
We literally discussed this on Wednesday that we said this would be the last piece of news so that we could transition into our discussion about Harley Quinn
We
the
did.
show.
We did talk about this.
We did, and now
so
you wanted to start with it, and we still had other Marvel toy news and stuff, but it's fine, whatever.
Well, it's the last
You have
bit of
news
this.
after this? Why don't we just skip to the Marvel toy news and come back to this?
Okay.
Yeah, we can go.
We'll just pretend like this never happened.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
we can edit it in post.
I mean, why did Ricky and I have a planning meeting if we're not even
I
going to
mean,
do the plan?
I didn't know about the Zendaya thing, so we're even.
There we go.
We're even. Check it out. There's new toys.
New toys, guys.
The Infinity Collection.
They're
Legends.
continuing the Infinity Saga, which is just an excuse to milk you for more money for the toys that they should have made right the first time around. They are this is a whole set of reissued figures that are, or I mean, to be fair, some of them we've never gotten in certain ways and stuff like that, but essentially
colors.
Yeah, or certain colors. These are all figures that are just way better versions of the ones you already own. Yeah, we can walk through them. It's just eight figures celebrating or picking different characters from the MCU movies. First up, I just wanted to show like really the reason they wanted to do this is the photoreal technology. It's so much better now than it was when some of these figures got made. So if you had a Bruce Banner figure from back in the day, it was like in a 3-pack, or if you had the Black Widow from the Winter Soldier movie, they look like ass compared to these toys. I promise you that. In the faces, everything else is exactly the same.
Oh, that'd be great if the Scarlett Johansson toy looks like ass. That's perfect.
Actually, you know what? I just noticed they gave her double jointed elbows, so they did improve this figure more than
you
just
get long and short hair.
You did. The old figure did too. They gave you, it's the hair they wanted to get, because they never made a figure of her from the Avengers movie. So you get the hairstyle that she had in the Avengers, and you get the hairstyle she had in Winter Soldier.
Give me the hairstyle from Iron Man 2, man. That was the cool one.
I know, right? I know. And then they redid
Winter Soldier.
They did Winter Soldier, and then they did Iron Man from Civil War. I don't think that Iron Man ever came with a Tony Stark head back in the day, so that's a bonus. But that's a photoreal Steve Rogers head. And then for the first time ever in the Marvel Legends line, they are doing the Mark II from Iron Man 1.
That's cool.
I mean, in fairness, they already released the Mark III like last year. So all you have to do is repaint it silver, and then
they should have put Actually, you could probably swap in a Don Cheadle head on that thing, right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, you don't need to.
I mean, Don Cheadle never wore it, but don't do Don Cheadle. Don't do Don Cheadle.
He never wore that one.
Well,
in Iron Man 2, Don Cheadle never wore that suit.
Oh, sorry, you're right. He wore that for like a minute, didn't he? He flew away with it.
He also just the same amount. He wore it for longer than Tony Stark did in this movie.
No, he didn't. No, Iron Man wore this for like a full scene.
So like, that's when
he learned to solve the icing problem.
Yeah, it's a whole it's a long scene like that he wore this with this suit. But anyways, if you want to have all the Iron Man suits, you got to get this one. And then Thor.
I was going to say it should be a Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard don't wear it.
Well, no, Terrence Howard didn't wear it.
Yeah, I know, but that's what would have been cool.
I see.
And also with a Thor, they should have the blonde eyebrow Thor.
The blonde eyebrow Thor.
From the
this is Thor from the Dark World. This is what he looked like in the Dark World. And honestly,
are people clamoring for that?
Well, honestly, like they made a lot of bad Thor toys. Like he's the face printing. Even this, I wouldn't say is 100% great, but this is a lot better than.
Do you think this is like Liam Hemsworth at least, or
it kind of looks like Liam, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
It kind of does, right? Yeah, it does. It does, but it's better. And then we get they reissued Civil War, War Machine, and Spider-Man. And the War Machine one is cool because it comes with a scroll head of no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I was gonna say, whoa, that's cool. Does it at least come with a Terrence Howard head? That's the important thing.
No. I don't know if it even comes with the Don Cheadle head, actually.
The What If Spider-Man.
That one is?
No, that's actually that's Spider-Man from Civil War.
Civil War.
Yeah, but the toy mold is the What If Spider-Man.
Maybe.
All right, grab a cape.
It's
Let's see
possible.
if the cape fits. You must
It's
acquit.
possible. And then
Ooh, Moon Knight
today,
Shyamalan.
was it today or yesterday? They Hasbro snuck out 2 more figures. They're actually putting out reissues of the Amazing Fantasy 15 Spider-Man and Moon Knight.
Wait, where's the toe articulation? I thought he had that in the.
No,
Oh,
Amazing Fantasy 15 doesn't.
That's right.
15 is
his toes never moved in that movie.
He's a shorter. He's a shorter figure. He's like to be like the 15-year-old boy that he was.
This one's a little different though. The back's blue, or the back spider's blue.
Yeah, it's almost like if you click the slide, you would see that.
I see a Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Moon Knight Shyamalan.
I mean, Ricky just likes to skip ahead all over.
Now that one has the Terrence Howard head for sure.
So in fairness, the Moon Knight, I don't believe is any different than the one you already have if you ever picked up the Walgreens exclusive one. But he was Walgreens exclusive, so like, you know, if you weren't able to get him back then.
That's when you taught me about the Walgreens exclusives.
Yeah.
Did the Walgreens one come with both heads though? The white one and black one?
Yep, it does.
The white one and the Terrence Howard one?
He comes with both. He comes with both. But then the main difference for the Amazing Fantasy is this one is actually made to look like he did in Amazing Fantasy 15, right? That's the comic where he had the blue spider, right? In the very
blue
first
spider
appearance.
in the back. Yep.
Man, I got my desk. I gotta buy another one.
So he also had armpit wings, though. Is that? Oh yeah,
he does. He does. They're in the bag. They're just not in a specific pose. Yeah. He's got the armpit wings and he comes with a swinging web and stuff. So this is just them saying, hey, we know that's how you're supposed to look. And then there's a fan stream next week. Conveniently right when the Ahsoka HasLab should be coming to an end. So might be like, I actually talked to the guys at Hasbro at Comic-Con and I was like, I'm kind of bummed you didn't do a HasLab. And they're like, we didn't want to steal the thunder from our Star Wars buddies. And I was like, oh, so you're waiting. So
was it just the dude sweeping up? He was like, he's wearing his janitor.
Yeah, it was the janitor.
He was unclogging a toilet. You're all like, hey, I'm surprised that you didn't.
It was the Comic-Con janitor. Yes.
He's all damn kids, damn kids in their pizzas.
Oh yeah. Hilariously enough, I actually did run into Dwight, the lead designer for the Hasbro Marvel Legends line, in the bathroom, and I ran into him. I ran into him there, and I was like, "It's Dwight," and I'm like, "You know what? I have something for you. I'm not going to give it to you here because it's weird. I'll see you later."
That's funny.
And so I waited for him to be out of the bathroom.
Oh, bro, nice dick. Oh, you're Dwight. Shit, hey.
You set me up for a
I've had so many meetings like that.
To the last bit of news, but I don't want to take it. So
nice dick.
Shit, nice dick. Arlene Sorkin, nice dick.
Speaking of coming to an end,
oh man, that was pretty good. That's actually one of your better transitions.
Days of Our Lives star and Harley Quinn voice actress Arlene Sorkin, fortunately passed away this week. You were going to educate me on her. Well,
I was going to educate
Harley
you
Quinn
on,
was created for her. And
I was going to educate you on her actual relationship to Harley Quinn, and then you said save it for the show, and then I was like, okay, cool. As long as we agree that we'll do this right before we talk about Harley Quinn the show, and then for some reason you decided to start the news with this, but here we are. Yes, I was going to tell you. So here's the fun part about it, and for anybody who does not know. Arlene Sorkin, obviously, we all know her as the original voice of Harley Quinn from Batman the Animated Series, and she is the character. She's the voice that defined that character, right? Like every Harley Quinn that's come after her is somehow paying an homage to that version of her, because everybody knows you can draw the line for her origins right to that cartoon, which I think is super cool, because like most DC characters are not created in a cartoon, like they're created in the comics and stuff. So like, but what's really interesting is Paul Dini, the writer for the Batman the Animated Series, he actually was college friends with Arlene Sorkin, who ended up being an actress on Days of Our Lives, and they had a sequence at one point where they did a dream sequence in that soap opera where she played a court jester in medieval times, and she did kind of the voice. She kind of did the voice, right? Like that was her thing, because that's actually that New York / New Jersey kind of accent is actually her real speaking voice, that she usually switches up for, acting roles and stuff. She did the voice as this gesture. Her friend Paul Dini saw it, and he was inspired, and he created this character who was meant to be a one-off character, just one-time appearance in the show. She ended up nailing it so much, that she ended up becoming this recurring character on the show. But like, he based Harley Quinn off of his friend Arlene. Like, so it was so much more than just, I mean, her literal name is Harleen Quinn. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, sorry, Quinzel, Harleen Quinzel. So
Doctor
Harleen Quinzel. So I just think it's really cool that she went on to do this for like decades, right? I think she finally retired the character in after DC Online, because I think she just felt uncomfortable with how dark the character was getting as it progressed. Because she voiced her in Batman Arkham Asylum, and that was already getting
really
edge.
okay, yeah,
2009.
Yeah, and then that was the last.
Tara Strong took it over in City, right?
Yeah, Arkham
DC
City.
Online just came to PS5.
Oh, really?
The game's still going strong.
Yeah, well, you can still listen to Arlene Sorkin there, as Harley Quinn.
They changed some of the voice actors around. I hope they didn't change her.
I mean, I could see if they would, or I mean, I could see that they would, but yeah, I was just really, like when Frank let us know, was it this week or was it Friday that she passed?
Yeah, I think it was end of last week.
Yeah, I was a little sad, but because I'm kind of like, at the same time, I'm like, somebody get their eyes on Mark Hamill right now, because
I know.
Like at this point, like honestly, like I care for him more as the Joker than I do for him as Luke Skywalker. Like that cartoon is just one of the best cartoons I've ever watched in my life. And I can still go back and watch it and still be entertained by it.
I still cry at the Grey Ghost episode.
Exactly.
Every
you know
time.
what I mean? So I just really love it. And I just wanted to take a moment to just kind of like celebrate Harley Quinn and talk about, like, if you guys have any favorite Harley Quinn moments. Like, it doesn't have to be Arlene's, it could be any Harley Quinn, but they're all because of her,
So I got one story and then a micro story. One is me and my wife were talking about how our kids, don't listen to our sage-like advice, but you know how kids are, they don't really listen. And we were talking about the potential idea of buying cameos from actors and influencers they respect, and then be like, hey, you should listen to your parents when they tell you stuff, because they really, want to do things. And my daughter's a really big fan of Harley Quinn. So I was thinking of getting a cameo of Arlene Sorkin and having her be like, hey, listen to your dad. He's got some good things to say, and don't date every guy that you meet, things like that, like random stuff like that. Just tell her, or wash your feet every so often, kind of things like that, I don't know. I thought it was random, but like the day after we had talked about that, that's when like it was announced that she passed. And I'm like, no, damn it. Now my daughter will never listen to me. That sucks.
So why'd you wait a day?
I know. I should have done it right then and there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the mini story is my favorite moment is when she was like, want to ride this Harley to the Joker in the show. Like, I thought that was fucking hilarious. That's always been my favorite moment.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's awesome. What about you, Ricky?
I have a favorite Harley moment.
I thought you told me your favorite one was the David Ayer Harley.
That is a cool Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad. I think it was cool because it
David Ayer?
Yeah, he directed that movie.
He's Suicide Squad.
He directed Suicide Squad. Apologies.
They should.
Was that like the fast track to like a new character to the screen? I feel like it was.
No, because
Beetle, probably.
I just got done telling, or Miss Marvel. No, probably Miss Marvel
at the time.
Miss Marvel?
At the time,
I think Miss Marvel's newer than Blue Beetle.
Yeah, but I'm saying at the time.
I'll check it.
But you know,
I
to
mean,
me that was like that.
Even
It sounds
Captain
really-
Marvel like is technically
Yeah.
newer. Yeah.
For
Talking like
whatever reason, I remember Harley Quinn showing up in that movie, just really like stuck at home with me. Oh shit! Like movies can kind of get cool with it. You know, part of the reason why is if you want to get like super into it. There's a podcast I've been listening to probably since I was like 14, 15 called The Geek Box, and they're one of the hosts. He had always talked about like on the show, like, you know, what kind of movie, what superhero movie would you want? He's like, I want a Suicide Squad movie, but I know they'll never make it. And I had been listening to that for like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And I'd known a lot about the Suicide Squad by proxy from this podcast, because every time it would just come up, they would go like down a little rabbit hole. And just watching his excitement for that movie to be announced, and then like, oh, here's who it is, and then you know they struck gold getting Margot Robbie right after Wolf of Wall Street, right? Like there was a lot of hype going in that movie. So that build up was kind of an exciting time for, I think, me only, just given this weird relation I had with the Suicide Squad and by association Harley Quinn.
So Harley is David Ayer's Harley. That's no joking aside. Like that's your favorite Harley. That's your favorite representation.
I mean, that's the one I seen the most. Sorry, if that makes sense. Because
Okay.
like I haven't really, I watched the show, the animated show, but I didn't really comprehend a lot of it. I still have not gone back to go watch it. And then I played the Arkham games. I mean, she's kind of a big part of the Arkham games, right? But
Yeah,
she's pretty big.
all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say
the
later
live
ones,
action, live action makes it real, man.
I agree.
You know what's funny about that is I see it the exact opposite. You know what my favorite version of her is?
The game?
It's two. It's Mad Love, the comic book.
Yeah.
Is it called Joker Mad Love, or is it Harley? Is it Batman Mad Love?
Batman Adventures.
Not Batman Adventures. No, it was not the Batman Adventures.
Batman Adventures Mad Love, right?
No, it was an actual.
The one where she has the gun in the cover and she's smiling.
No, it's the one with the Alex Ross cover of Joker and Harley Quinn.
That I don't remember the name of that.
So the story's called Mad Love. I don't remember if it's called Batman Mad Love or Joker Mad Love. But basically what it was is DC realized that this character wasn't officially canon yet in the comics, right? So they asked Paul Dini to write her introduction into the DC universe. So even though she had appeared in the Batman Adventures comics, which were an adaptation of they were kind of like a continuation of the cartoon with the same art style and stuff, this comic was specifically meant to retell her story, like her origin story that was told in the cartoon, but in the DC universe. And it's a little darker, you know, because it's a little grosser, because it can be, like, because it's not for kids. And it was really cool because, like, as I read it, I couldn't help but hear Arlene Sorkin the entire time. And it's because it's the same person writing her, you know, both for the show and for the comic. But for me, seeing her in the comics made her real, you know, it made her real for me. And then and subsequently, when she has this giant reintroduction into the Batman Hush comic book, you know, when she shows up there and Jim Lee draws her in all of his Jim Lee glory, and she's there, and you just accept that because of this earlier comic, Harley Quinn is now part of the DC universe. And when you see her in Batman Hush, it's just like, it's a stamp, it's a concrete, like, seal of approval, kind of like, she's there. I know I was mixing metaphors there, but for me, it just made her real. Like, so I think it's cool that you say, like, when it's live action, it's real. For me, it's the exact opposite. When it's in the comics, it becomes real, So, but yeah, I really
Firefly came from the Brave and the Bold, right? Am I making that up?
Oh, Firefly. I was thinking. I don't know.
Sorry, not the movie.
I was thinking
but
Joss Whedon.
The
I was
bad,
like,
the
what
bad
the
guy
hell?
Firefly.
no. Firefly is a really old Batman villain.
Is it? I
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah.
Not Mothman. Maybe it is Mothman.
No. The Neil Patrick Harris character, the Music Meister, is from Brave and the Bold.
I could have swore there was another one, but either way, it's always cool.
Music Meister. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that.
Music Meister.
Yeah, he's from Brave and the Bold, and then he appeared in last season of Harley Quinn also, or 2 seasons ago.
Oh yeah, Brave and the Bold 2012,
season, and then he was also in the CW show, right?
Oh, he might have been in the Flash, and I had stopped watching that show by then, so I couldn't tell you.
Once they pulled out the lightsabers, I was pretty done with that.
But we're not done talking about Harley Quinn.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Frank, you messed up the transition.
My bad. Sorry. So I can't find any reference to Mad Love.
Well, that's the one with the Alex Ross cover?
It is the Alex Ross cover, and I can see the Alex Ross comic, but it doesn't say Mad Love on it. But her first appearance was.
I don't think it says Mad Love on the outside of it. That's what I'm saying.
No. I'm saying I'm looking at it like based on the story, but it doesn't say the name of the story. But it says that's what the comic is. It's annoying. This is annoying. But anyway, Mad Love. Her first appearance was in Mad Love, but it was Batman Adventures number. I can't find it right now. I just had it too. Batman Adventures number 12, and it's called Mad Love.
Also, yeah, I believe
that's her first comic appearance. But like, I don't think the Batman Adventures comic
that's not canon.
Yeah, it's not canon.
Yeah.
So her first canon was Batman. It's called Batman Harley Quinn number 1.
Thank you.
That's her first one.
No, sorry, you're right. It's called Batman Harley Quinn, and the story of it is the same as Mad Love from the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
That's why I keep thinking Mad Love.
But that's the one with the Alex Ross cover, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Batman Harley Quinn.
Well, let's talk about her most recent
appearance. Speaking of Harley Quinn, let's talk about it.
Harley Quinn episode 7.
Thank you for helping me clear that up, Frank. It is. Yes, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, I was confused. You kind of like threw a wrench in my entire thought process. I'm like,
1999, Batman Harley Quinn. That's what it's called. And yes, Ricky, continue.
Episodes, is it 7? I lost track now.
We did not do a show last week, so we didn't get a chance to talk about
episode 7 and 8.
And then episode 8 came out this week. I will give you the titles for both. The title for last week's episode was called The Most Culturally Impactful Film Franchise of All Time. And they are, of course, referring to the Avatar series. It's a joke, of course, because those movies are stupid. But the premise of this episode is Poison Ivy finds out that there is a time sphere, and because she is running the Legion of Doom and she wants to do some badass shit, she decides to have her and her girl crew go and steal this time sphere. And they're like, what are you going to do with it? What kind of time travel? And she's like, no, I don't even want time travel, bro. I just want to like put it up on display. And then they're like super impressed by the baller move that is. But she's having relationship problems with Harley, who is interrupting her. And Harley in the middle of an argument ends up using the time sphere to go to the future to talk to Poison Ivy, 60-year-old Poison Ivy, because hopefully she'll listen to her. And they end up both accidentally going time traveling. And what's so funny to me is this time travel doesn't even occur until like halfway into the episode. And it is fully resolved by the end of the episode. It's a 15-minute time travel adventure. And it cracks me up. Frank, you didn't watch this one, right?
Nah.
No.
I couldn't get past the first, I want to say 3 minutes of the first episode of
Hashtag not my Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the show. I don't like where it's going. And
All right.
I'm glad you guys like it. I'm glad it's
For the next.
Well, don't put words in my mouth, Frank.
For the next
wait,
few minutes. For the next few minutes, we'll just put a gag on Frank.
Nice.
And we'll just talk. I'll just talk with Ricky about this one really quick.
It was, again, I'll say it. I've said it once. I said it again. It shows like Family Guy to me. I'm not like heavily invested in it. I enjoy like when I watch it. It's maybe like if I always do my food comparisons. It's like McDonald's, you know. It's just I enjoy a good Big Mac every now and then. Do I remember every bite that I take of that Big Mac? No.
McDonald's
but do I
Big
enjoy
Mac?
the Big Mac with the fry, maybe a little soda? Yeah, and for the 15 minutes it takes to eat it, I'm happy, and then I forget about it.
In fairness, though, I knew as soon as they made fun of Avatar that this was not Ricky's episode.
I didn't like for that.
Wait, are you an Avatar stan, Ricky?
I was pretty heavy on Avatar when it came out.
Oh wow.
I do think there is a technical on a technical level. It's hard to hate Avatar. Those movies are impressive.
I guess.
I
guess that's impressive.
I am surprised. Like, if we're gonna skip over that and talk about the beginning of this week's episode. They dunk on the Snyderverse.
No, we're not.
It's like a continuation of the same scene.
It's after the time travel is resolved. Say, why are you skipping over? We didn't even get to talk about the episode.
Well,
you're just
talk
about
I
want to skip over it. So for me, what I thought was really funny about this episode is they go to the future and they do like a lot of tropes where it's a dystopian society. It's an Armageddon has happened, right? Like the apocalypse.
Damien's world.
And it's basically like the only remaining member of the Bat family is Damien. And he is like super fat and he's like kind of glued to his chair where he controls an army of bat drones that like has like a military like dictatorship over the whole like city of Gotham.
So it's like a Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
That's funny.
But Damien is like controlling everything, and so there's a band of resistance fighters that Harley and Poison Ivy stumble across, and it's a ragtag group of people who are led by Neytiri, who is somehow the daughter of Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. I don't understand how that works. They don't either.
I had read some sort of article about women being able to generate their own kids without men by the year 2050, I want to say.
Well, that's awesome. But you can see that she is clearly the child of both of them. She is green, but she has fabulous pigtails, and like she fights like her moms and stuff like that. But they are super offended by her stupid name because they can't believe that either one of them would ever name their kid Neytiri, who is the main Zoe Saldana's character from Avatar, right? And they're like, why would we name any? Like they were so drunk they don't even remember Avatar. Like that's like, so it doesn't make sense to them. And then like everybody in that reality is explaining how it's the most culturally impactful film franchise of all time for whatever reason. But that's what happens in apocalypses, anyways, they end up getting backstabbed by Neytiri, who is actually working with Damien, and they end up realizing that their daughter sucks, and the reason the daughter sucks is because they were never alive to see her grow up, and she was instead raised by Cheryl. Cheryl was the policewoman from like the first 2 seasons of the show, I believe, like one of Gordon's people. It was all silly, it was all funny and stuff, and then like at the very end, yes, they get back in the time machine, they escape the whole thing, and they end up back in this universe, and because they're like, oh, we'll just fix the apocalypse by going back to where we were. And I guess they accidentally put in the wrong code or the wrong timestamp, and they ended up 6 days later than when they left, and to only discover that the apocalypse already happened, right? And so that's when the next episode, I said issue, Il Buffone takes place this week, and it's basically it's a flashback to show you what led to this apocalypse, because everything in Gotham is super gray. And yeah, they made fun of it by saying, what did the Snyderverse people take over? You know, like, and so because it looks almost like black and white in Gotham. It's like super dark. And so you were gonna say you were surprised by that joke, or
yeah, I lost my train of thought there for a minute. It's like dunking on. I mean, I don't know, man. I think that joke's overplayed. I'm not defending the Snyderverse, but like a lot of stuff happened to him in like those last couple movies. Like personally, that seems kind of like, oh, I wouldn't like. It's like punch it down, you know. You don't punch down.
it's not punching down if you can easily blame him for like he came back. He came back, bro. You can't say it's punching down if
the fans requested he came back. The rabid fans
gladly did it, and he took the money. He did it. Like if he had gracefully said, you know what, no, this is too painful for me because this is from a very turbulent time in my life. I respectfully have to decline this. I think then it would be a punching down. But like if the dude takes the check and then goes and makes the money or makes the movie, all's fair, dude. I don't think you get to like defend this guy anymore.
Defending him.
You kind of are.
Dang, Snyder apologist.
Yeah, you are.
You know, speaking of Zack Snyder, it seemed like he directed the first episode of Ahsoka because there were a lot of parts where like they were just like, and then something would finally happen, and like I feel like those parts should have been like done in slow motion.
Yeah, they were.
But anyway, sorry.
They were.
Let's go back to Ricky being a Snyder apologist.
All right, I'm gonna fast forward.
Snyder makes some good movies.
Give us a show summary so we can talk about Blue Beetle.
I'm gonna
he gave us the Dawn of the Dead remake. Come on.
I like the 8th episode more. I thought there was
did like Watchmen.
The 8th episode is hilarious because it's a flashback. It pretty much doesn't involve Harley and Poison Ivy. You get to see all the chain of events that occurred to lead up
like
to
a Bane pasta side story.
So there's a Bane side story where he really believes that if he can repair the pasta maker handle that he got for Nora Freeze, the ex-wife of Victor Freeze, who died in like
that's right. I forgot they broke up. It was Alfred Molina, right?
Yeah, but he didn't break up.
She walked out.
He died. Remember?
He died? I don't remember.
Yeah, he died in the first season, or I think.
Yeah, it was like the first or second.
Yeah, something like that. But he died, and so she's a widow technically. You know, like but she's always out there trying to get ice dick. And what's really funny is like she's trying to bang any of the cold villains, but she's got her eyes on Captain Cold, and she's really trying to hook up with him. But what's funny is it's been this side story through the whole season is that Bane is just enamored with Nora Freeze, and he really wants to prove to her that he can be the man she needs. So he travels to Italy because he was, after being on customer support with the pasta maker company for 96 hours, he decides that it would be better to just go to Italy to try and fix this problem. And you're like, how does this story have any fucking thing to do with the apocalypse? And I'm not sure that it actually did, but it was really
it was
funny.
just a cool little Bane pasta side story.
It was a side story, but meanwhile, the other more impactful story is Lex Luthor has developed a laser gun that is called like the Earth Saver or something like that. I believe it is, and he wants to use it to like fix the ozone layer and save the world, right? And so he's up there on the moon. He shoots the test shot at the laser, and it goes limp like about 10 feet before hitting the planet. And they're like, "What's going on? Why is it broken?" And it turns out like it just wasn't built to. It was just 10 feet shy of executing its plan. So what he has a plan to go down to Earth, find Volcana, and ask her to ignite all the volcanoes in all of the world at the same time to raise the ozone layer by 10 feet so that then he can use his laser. And, for overstepping because he is no longer in charge of the Legion of Doom. But since Poison Ivy's nowhere to be found, he's trying to take advantage of that. And Nora, being the excellent assistant to Poison Ivy, is not letting Lex have anything to do with what he wants to do. So they end up in this fun cat and mouse game where he's trying to like get what he wants, and meanwhile, like Nora's trying to get Ice Dick from Captain Cold. There's a great scene. I think one of my favorite lines in the whole thing is right when like Captain Cold has got like his boxers down, or I mean he's got his boxers out, and you see her just staring at his crotch, and she says, "Can't wait to get my tongue stuck to that." Like, and that's just an awesome line. I just love it. The other line I love is when Bane is trying to introduce himself to two little Italian boys, and he's trying to like do it with the Italian accent, and he's like, "I'm Bonio," and they're like,
what was that?
Accident. I'm so sorry.
That right? Okay, good.
I dropped something.
You dropped something on the button. Nice. But yeah, he accidentally refers to himself as the Italian word for toilet, and I thought that was really adorable. But anyways, Lex ends up accidentally getting what he wants through some crazy hijinks. They screw up the ozone layer. It's enough to light the
thickens the ozone 10 feet by 10 feet.
Yeah, he ends up thickening the ozone layers, particularly above Gotham City, which is what causes it to go gray. Superman comes to the rescue because there's rioting and stuff happening, and when Superman arrives, he's completely weak because he does not have access to the sun's rays, and that's when they realize this whole plan of saving the Earth was really just Lex being petty and wanting to screw over Superman, like he always does. And so it was all silly. It was funny. And then meanwhile, Mama Macaroni, which is like a joke from earlier in the season, the pasta maker, is hooked up. She's going to like kill Bane. She's like hooked up olive oil to all of his like venom like hoses. And she's going to like pump olive oil into him for some reason. And then he convinces her that he's like a semi-famous villain. And she's like, "Wait, you're semi-famous?" And next thing you know, like he gets out of the whole jam by asking his friend Clayface to get her tickets to his Las Vegas show. And so, yeah, there you go. This is why Ricky says it's like Family Guy, because out of context, everything that I just described just makes no freaking sense at all. But you're just either there for the ride or you're not, but I enjoy the show, but I will say this: I am happy that this is the final season.
It gives me when I watch this show, I'm looking to disconnect for approximately 30 minutes or so.
Yeah,
and it does that.
Ricky basically called the show what I called Marvel Phase 4, like McDonald's. You called it McDonald's, and that's exactly what it was. It's just predictable, consumable humor.
What's your favorite? Phase 4 is.
I wouldn't say it's always predictable, Harley Quinn, but it is entertaining. I don't know if you know, but
Nightwing, they're not afraid to go there.
Nightwing was murdered in the show a few episodes ago.
Oh, really?
Yes, and so and then the Joker was quick to take credit for it. But then in last week's episode, Barbara was continuously working to find out that Joker actually was not available at the time of Dick's death. So while he's on Dr. Psycho's podcast, he gets called out, and Dr. Psycho said, "Wow, I wouldn't have guessed that Joker's Stolen Valor would be on my bingo card for this year, but there it is," and so it's just random stuff like that. But like, it's like I kept waiting for like the death of Nightwing to be more impactful, but it doesn't have to be, because that's, it's from the villain's perspectives. They don't really care about Nightwing, you know what I mean? And so
the show really glosses over death anyway.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a sad Harley Quinn show at this point.
Exactly. So you just have to accept, you roll with it all. You roll with it or you don't, like Frank. But it's okay, but I think there's only 2 episodes left, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't know that I really care where it ends up in the next 2 weeks. I've had fun, but it has lost something from the previous seasons for sure. Like it no longer is something that I look forward to watching every week, and instead it's something that I just
It's
happen to
because
watch.
it's at this point, back to the Big Mac analogy. I don't need a Big Mac food review to go get another Big Mac. I know what it is. I know what it does.
I will say this incidentally, like I thought, because we talked on this last time we did the show, we talked about My Adventures of Superman, and I thought episode 9 was the last episode. I found out like an hour and a half ago that there was another episode on Max today, and I watched that, and that was actually the more satisfying season finale than what I thought it was last week. So, just saying, if if Harley's not your style, try
There's
that
a
one.
much better show on HBO.
I did try it. I did try that, and that wasn't my style either.
Yeah.
Oh.
All the things I complained about last week, Frank, were all addressed in this week's episode.
Nice. That's good to hear. Because that's what you said. Like I like the fact that the people that are enjoying it are enjoying it. That's cool. Enjoy it. And I want more things like it, but I don't think that was for me. Like it's just it feels too modern for me to really enjoy it. I like a good classic story, I think.
All right. Well, with that said, let's talk about Blue Beetle then.
Good old the classic history of Blue Beetle. So I looked it up, and Dennis, you were right. At least so far, like I haven't found a website, because every time I say like fastest comic book to screen, it's all like, oh, the fastest? Oh, you mean the Flash? Obviously, you mean like the Flash or Quicksilver or that person from Inhumans. So Jaime Reyes started out in 2003.
Yeah.
So, and then Kamala Khan was 20. Shit, I just had it up. 2013 as in the Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
But as Ms. Marvel, that was 2014. Still,
yeah.
Even if you just count her 2014 appearance, then it's still faster than Jaime Reyes.
I mean, she's really fast, right?
It's pretty quick.
Is America faster?
Maybe Ironheart. Yeah,
Ironheart might be faster. Yeah, you're right. Ironheart might be the fastest.
You're right.
Yeah.
Check out America Chavez real quick.
Yeah, Ironheart and America Chavez. Yeah.
I think Ironheart's gonna win.
Yeah.
Ironheart's gonna win. Ironheart America, Ironheart International. I don't want to see that shit.
Well, we all saw.
So 2016 first appearance, 2017 as Ironheart.
Okay.
So she beats them all.
Oh yeah.
She beats them off. She beats all of them off.
Does the Blue Beetle? I fucked up a transition there. How'd you like the Blue Beetle?
Well,
okay. Well, how do you want to go?
Do you want a summary really quick of the movie before we get into it?
Blue Beetle. It's basically Iron Man meets Shazam.
And also a spoiler warning, I guess, as well.
Blue Beetle. If you've ever seen a superhero movie, you've seen the Blue Beetle. Is that the?
That's fair enough. Yeah, I could give a slightly more detailed one. It's like,
let's see. It looks like you got it written down. So let's.
Yeah, you want to read it, so read it.
Oh, I do. Cord Industries co-founder and CEO Victoria Cord, played by Susan Sarandon, locates an ancient alien artifact known as the Scarab. Her niece, Jenny, steals the Scarab to prevent it from being used to create a one-man army corps, a.k.a. OMAC. She entrusts the Scarab to Jaime Reyes, a college graduate with a heart of gold, looking to earn money to keep his family from being evicted. The Scarab, a sentient weapon, chooses Jaime as its host. As the Blue Beetle, they set out on an adventure with Jenny and tech genius Uncle Rudy to uncover the secrets of the Cord family and its ties to the Scarab. I think that's it's every superhero movie ever.
I think you left out the part with the villainous murder spree of the family. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. The bloodlusty murder spree.
Yeah. So,
according to plays such as Zoot Suit or the movie Zoot Suit, it's because of their Aztec blood that they're so bloodthirsty. That's what it was. That's why they arrested a lot of the Zoot Suiters back in the riots back in the day, because they were born, or they had Aztec blood in them.
There's already been one canceled Blue Beetle podcast this week. I don't know if I want to make it two.
All right.
Frank, just a heads up. I think your mic's hot or something.
It's hot.
It's-
It said something about the host on the. There's a
I
message
think
that dropped down.
everyone sounds good.
Oh, really? Okay, because I just muted Frank for like a second and it sounded way better. So just throwing that out there.
Is that
Dang.
shade?
Are you trying to diminish the black man? Don't underdemiciate me.
I'm hearing a crackle whenever Frank talks. That's why it just showed up about a minute or two ago.
Wow, that's
But
Is it puberty?
if Ricky's not hearing it, then maybe we're good. But
nope.
Nothing changed. It sounds smooth on my end.
Okay, maybe it's
Tell
a
me.
headphone issue I'm having there. In any case, sorry for that derailing. Yeah, no, there's other stuff that happens in the movie, and I don't mean to minimize the movie or anything. But like at this point, I think we've said this plenty of times on this show. An origin story generally, it's pretty hard to get me excited for an origin movie at this point, right? Like it's not like we understand that when we watch an origin movie, it's not necessarily for us, right? It's not. It's for getting a brand new group of fans on board with this character. So this is like, I don't know, the third or fourth time I've seen Jaime Reyes introduced, in various media. So I would say this is the best version of it that I've seen, but it's also the longest version of it that I've seen too. You know what I mean? So, that said, I don't want to sound like I'm ragging on the movie. I'm saying it just suffers from that same problem that all origin movies suffer from, is that it takes a little too long for me to get to the point.
What's your favorite origin story told in a movie? A superhero movie.
Miles Morales.
Okay, that's a good one.
What about in a non cartoon kiddie movie? No.
Yeah. Why you gotta do it like that?
Just for jokes now.
Why you gotta do it like that? If it's not Miles Morales in Into the Spider-Verse, I'm a big fan of Batman Begins. I really think that movie tells the origin in a way, they add new context to the story.
Does the Joker rank in
not
the upper
close.
echelon?
He doesn't like the Joker.
Okay.
Does
not even close.
What I was going to ask though is, did you guys see the James Gunn? His tweets have started to resurface again, like his old pedo tweets that he made that got him fired from Disney. Anyway,
okay.
So he had written that that Batman Begins is like the worst Batman movie. Did you see that? Yeah,
I know. Yeah,
I thought that was really funny because I'm all like, wrong.
Yeah, no. I definitely disagree with that statement. I don't think everything James Gunn says is correct. But he did say a lot. He did throw a lot of stuff out there just to see who was listening back in the day, for fun.
Yeah.
He liked to troll. He liked to troll a lot. He doesn't have the luxury of doing that as much anymore. And that therefore he is slightly less fun than he used to be. But
sure.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna make me have to go with a live action one, probably either Christopher Reeve Superman or Batman Begins.
Okay.
Wow, those are like two polar opposites. Well, those are basically the world's finest right there, like the two polar opposites on the scale right there.
But I think the trick with Superman is, like, by that point, right, tons of people knew Superman's story, but I think that movie just took its time to really make you feel the emotional weight of his story, right? And so I think it's technically like the first modern day origin movie, right?
Yeah, I look at it almost like a Clash of the Titans situation where they're telling a very well-known story, but it's like, I don't say the first time, but one of the first times taking on something of that scale, right? It's like telling the story of Jesus. The first one, it's a thing of its own, right? To make that jump. So I can see why that one.
You're saying the Lord and Savior Jesus of Nazareth is an origin story for for the stories to follow. Are you saying that the Jesus universe didn't take off? Is that what happened?
Oh, I think it took off. They're doing very well.
It's like the dark universe and that Universal tried to make.
I want an Elseworld.
Elseworlds with Jesus. What is
Flashpoint Jesus movie?
So Frank, since you put me on the spot, you answer the question. What's your favorite origin stories or superhero origin movies?
I would probably say, even though it's not necessarily comic accurate, I would say Toby Spider-Man. I think Toby Spider-Man is probably my favorite one. Okay. I think the scenes with Uncle Ben, and that's because Uncle Ben really sells it. I think Cliff Robertson really brought the Uncle Ben. Like, he was just really saccharine, really loving to Peter, and that's what he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be like just a kind of a one-dimensional type character that hands Peter, the catchphrase that we all know. Mm-hmm. And then he just fucking dies. But I think that story's great, and it's something that I would say it's not as well known as Batman. So when it came out in like 2001, and we got to see the origin story play out, I thought it was really good, and really heartfelt for its time.
Yeah, I was fairly certain that was going to be your answer.
Yeah, I still cry when he's all like, "I'm not your father." He's like, "I know you're not my father." He's like yelling at him, and I'm like, "Oh no, don't say that. I'm gonna go back."
What about you, Ricky?
Is it cheap to say? Oh, I'm gonna give two. They're both in the MCU. I really liked Iron Man 1. I think that did a really good job of bringing an unknown character to speed, but also they tweak it to fit for the times at hand. Even before it was a shared universe, I think bringing it to the war in the Middle East and kind of dealing with the weapons complex or industrial complex in that regard, on a modern scale, but having the tech be innovative but still accessible to the time, it did a really good onboarding to that world.
Yeah,
and they continue to do it.
That's a good.
In fairness, you could argue that it followed a lot of the steps that the original Superman did too. I mean, Superman had to modernize that story because, the original comic was the 30s, so they had to make it happen in the late 70s instead and stuff. And so, and by the 80s, you have Superman actually dealing with the proliferation of nuclear weapons. I'm not going to say Superman 4 is a good movie.
You're talking about the best movie ever?
But the beginning of that movie is probably one of the most meaningful parts of the whole Superman franchise, which was he finally got all of the United Nations together and said, look, if you're not going to do something about these, I am. And I think that's a really powerful thing to say during the Cold War in the 1980s. You know what I mean? To actually have this character that we wish was our savior, right? We wish we had a Superman to come and get rid of all of the nuclear weapons in all of the world. So I think, but that's a modernization.
I don't know. I like living in fear. I think it's really cool.
It's funny.
Leave it to Frank.
I like the idea of a scorched earth. Let the robots rise.
But in any case, I think the only reason we're having this conversation is because we all have our own origin stories that we think they nailed it, and everything that's come afterwards is okay, yeah, good job. You did okay. Different degrees of good. For me, the reason I said Into the Spider-Verse is because that is the most unique origin story I have ever seen done. They said, okay, 1 billion origin stories have been done. How could we do it different? Whereas most origin stories don't really feel like they're asking themselves that question as they're telling the story. With
they're like, how can we fast track through this?
Yeah, but people
boring part as fast as possible.
That's a controversial thing though. If you don't change it, if you change it too much, it becomes a bad thing if it's not done well.
Right.
You increase your margin for error by doing that.
Yeah.
So
it's every movie in Phase 4, I would say, except for ones that involve Spider-Man.
But back to Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
I think it's a serviceable origin story.
It's a fine. I think it's a perfect B+ movie. You gonna give it an A, or you gonna stick with
I
B+?
wouldn't. I'm not gonna give it an A, but I will say this. Like, I think we've done this show a million times over. I mean, or 104 technically to be precise. And I think
I mean, in a pleasant way though. I like that. That's cool.
And anyone that knows, like, this show knows that I have some very simple criteria for any superhero movie, right? And it's like
rule one,
or rule number one.
Okay, rule A. No, rule A. I like that better.
Is the hero behaving heroically through this movie? And I think Xolo Maridueña, like as Jaime, he nailed that, right? Like, through the whole movie, he is heroic. Like, from the beginning to end, he is the one guy, like, who's willing to get fired for standing up for a girl he doesn't even know at the very beginning of the movie. And that inspires all of the events that happen afterwards. And you might argue that's why the Scarab chose him, blah blah blah, like, who knows, like, all the things that happen afterwards. But once he has this power that he can do anything with, right? It's kind of like a Green Lantern ring almost, right? Like, you can just make whatever he wants.
Yeah, but I mean, we haven't seen Green Lantern in the cinema yet, so
he was in that movie.
Oh yeah, he was in the Snyderverse. You're right. Sorry,
I'm sorry. He was in Blue Beetle.
You saw Green Lantern in the Snyderverse. Wait, he was in Blue Beetle?
He's in the opening credits he's a flash of green light that they have said is Green Lantern.
Wasn't that the Scarab?
The Scarab bumps into a green light and
that's the Scarab
and changes course.
Yeah, there's multiple colored Scarabs.
The director said it. I'm just
okay. That's fine. It's fine.
Anyways, so
they do a good job with him because they don't dip into the machismo. I think he's just a very likable character. He's not.
I wouldn't say he's like.
Interesting. I wouldn't call him a character. I'd call him a serviceable character. He's like a Bella Swan from Twilight, where he's just the blank slate.
He's the everyman, right?
A young guy can just kind of impress himself upon. He's like the Link. He's all like, oh, I'm Link now. Like, basically, you could be like, oh, I see myself in Link.
But he does.
Tell me what Link's personality is.
Oh man, we're not going. I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way. I'm just saying. Sorry. I'm saying, check the box. He is heroic through the whole movie.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Rule number C. Or no, B. Rule number
B or rule two, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, whatever. We're not
and you tell me when you disagree with my rules, by the way. But my rule number 2 is, in order for the hero to be really good, he has to have a piece of shit villain. Like, the worse the villain is, the more it's easy to like the hero.
Worse. Like, character of the worst person, or they're just like the worst.
Like, let's say the villain was in a parking lot, and let's say that they were pushing their empty cart. They just got done unloading the groceries into the car. Does this villain put the cart into the stall thingy?
If you want your hero to be good, no, they don't put their.
Okay.
They don't. Okay. And I would argue that Susan Sarandon was way more than serviceable as a piece of shit human being through that entire movie. And it made it really easy for me to like Jaime, because he's in direct opposition to this lady who is just like, she's my hero, right? Because, like, I think anytime a white actor, like, chooses to play like an especially like racist or like a person or somebody enabling like the systemic problems in America.
Oh my God.
Like anytime somebody does that, by the way, Don Johnson's my MVP for that, like, for all the times he's done that in media.
Some say he's not acting.
Yeah. Maybe it's like Sean Connery when he's
the ultimate ruse.
Shame on them. He did a full season of Kenan, and he was sweet as hell on that show too. But
Inside Job. That show got canceled.
Yeah. You know what I say about
Inside Job,
bad people that do good jobs.
But yeah, we can all agree that Susan Sarandon was a piece of shit in this movie?
Yeah, no, she was a shitty person.
But I think she was written for that, and she didn't have to be a multi-dimensional, multi-layered villain. One thing that I do like, going back to what you were saying about villains being pieces of shit, is the fact that she was just like unabashedly a piece of shit. Normally, in movies these days, I feel like they try to make you sympathize with the villain a lot, and they try to, especially if the villain's like a woman or a person of color, they try to make you see that they're part of it, kind of like Carly Morgenthau in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show.
This movie too.
Well,
no, they didn't sympathize her.
They tried to. They tried to like they played like her. There was a whole line that her dad.
Oh wow, a whole line. Wow, they really tried.
Oh, they tried touching on the fact that her dad, even though she was a smarter one than her brother, gave her brother the company.
She sees herself as the victim, but like that's fine. Like
but what I'm saying is like they make the villains sympathize. They make the audience sympathize with the villains.
Okay, yeah.
And there wasn't anything she was gonna say that was really gonna sympathize, or that made us sympathize with her.
But here's where the movie gets the bonus points and kind of, I think, edges into that
rule C3?
That B+ territory. No.
Or this addendum
B1.
Addendum
by the way,
1X.
Those are my 2 rules. That's my.
There's only 2.
Oh.
I like those 2 rules for superhero movies. Like,
and what's the extra point?
Because the extra point
is Appendix Z. Why didn't you?
The extra point was what.
Did you read the handbook in the planning meeting, Ricky?
What Frank was saying is, like a lot of times movies try to go out of their way to make the villains relatable. More often than not, that fails, right? I think sometimes movies try too hard. Like, for example, Amazing Spider-Man 2, like, spends way too much time on Jamie Foxx's character, and it's like, I don't care. Max Dillon, that nobody likes you or nobody cares about you, like, and you're just that character. Or Kristen Wiig in Wonder Woman 84, right? Like, it's that same kind of trope. Or even Jim Carrey in Batman Forever. Like, it's a little much sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, it's
like,
did
they try to sympathize you with him?
They try to make you like understand him before, like
he gets slapped around at work.
How he's treated like he's not appreciated at his workplace and stuff, right? Like,
so you're saying like
he snaps,
like Pamela Isley on Batman and Robin. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, so in bad movies, you're saying so?
Yeah. I'm saying the times that it doesn't work.
Wait,
I'm saying,
can you cite a time that it does work in a good movie,
or
doesn't work in a good movie? Sorry, doesn't work in a good movie though. I'm just curious.
That doesn't work.
I'm not challenging your theory. I think you have a very valid thought right here.
Yeah, we just got to set the parameters.
I'm just curious if there's one. If there's,
I can tell you a time it works in a good movie.
Oh yeah, duh. Marvel movies, like Phase 2 Marvel movies.
I'm talking about Magneto. I mean, nobody's gonna argue with Magneto's motivations ever. Like, I don't care how crazy his themes are.
Yeah.
You can sympathize with Magneto, right? Like, and so
I'm saying when you can't sympathize with the villain in a good movie. I think I'm trying to say the opposite.
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins. Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Ra's al Ghul's hard to sympathize with. Yeah, so that's a good.
Well, I mean, but he does want to fight crime. I mean, he's a little hard on crime. He's a little strict.
Ricky, thank you for that. You saved me, so we can get back to Blue Beetle, where it gets the extra points by having a second villain that actually they sneak in a really sweet moment of relatability at the very end of his story, and suddenly what happens was, this went from being like a C movie to me to being in the B or B+ area, where I suddenly felt sad for a villain, like in Raul Max Trujillo plays Carapax, which I felt like that
is that a real guy in the comics?
It's a real guy in the comics.
That name's a little on the nose.
And actually the armor looks exactly the same. Like, they did a really good job recreating the armor.
OMAC
is his armor looks like his Carapax armor or whatever.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The armor they had him in looks like the Carapax
OMAC armor. A thing from the comics as well?
OMAC is a thing from the comics.
OMAC is a thing, and unfortunately it's not all.
Are they related?
From Cord Industries. No. Okay. It's OMAC is created by Checkmate, right? Like, it's an organization.
They said OMAC a lot in this movie. It's like they must be really trying to hammer this in somehow.
Well,
OMAC I feel like they're trying to get us to understand that.
What's a sad thing is like OMAC is meant to be an army type unit that could be a very real threat to a Justice League, but instead they just made it the thing that Blue Beetle fights, and possibly kills at the end and stuff. So
hopefully not, but I mean,
well,
they're
he
not
doesn't
going to
kill
make a
it.
sequel probably. So
He doesn't kill it actually. It's Carapax actually kills himself, right?
Mhm.
He kills himself to so that the technology can never exist again.
Maybe he buried it or something.
But I really liked that in that last moment of Carapax's time on the movie, he remembers his past, and he remembers like the atrocities that were committed to on his family by Victoria Cord. What?
I thought his last moments were dragging Victoria Cord into fire to die horribly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but he remembers. Oh,
but he remembered he was Mexican at the last.
He remembers everything.
I think he was Mexican. He was like Colombian, wasn't he?
I don't know. Well, they made it a big point to say that Jaime Reyes was from Mexico, so
they did.
I feel like everything should have stayed in Mexico, but I don't know. Did they actually say where he's from?
I mean, Jenny is from Brazil, so I don't
they didn't say where he's from, but like
but she's of white person descent, so she doesn't matter in this movie. She doesn't even like tacos.
Revolution analogs.
We're getting weird here. We're getting weird.
All right. Yeah, revolution analogs, but still there was revolutions to be had in Mexico.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters specifically where he's from in the movie. The point is,
as
like,
long as
you
don't want to. It's like a Top Gun situation. You don't want to put a country on it. Then it makes it weird.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Where they have the helmets so that you can't see like.
Well, no, I just don't. I don't think it's relevant. The point is, he's from somewhere that was exploited by the Cord family,
exploited by white people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then he remembered that, and then dragged her into fire.
So for me, it does get, and I don't think he's in, like, I don't think this villain is holding the burden of representation in this movie. I think that's Jaime's family is in charge of really displaying Mexican culture, like living in America. And I think they do a great job of doing that. And I think that's why a lot of people are really excited about this movie, is because, like, and that was a thing I was excited about, like, separate from, is it hitting my check boxes, is like, is this movie actually making, like a fair depiction of what it's like to live in America as a Mexican culture, or, as a Mexican family. And I think they do a lot of things right that like may be jarring to people, like, that have never seen that kind of stuff, like in a pop culture kind of, franchise style movie. Like, that's the thing, right? We're used to seeing this kind of stuff in like indie movies or things that like you're told you should go see this movie because
we've talked about it before, that we see a lot of like things like this level of representation. We see it in horror movies, because horror movies are generally cheaper and they need stuff to pad the runtime so they don't spend so much money on the lizard man or whatever that they're making.
It's cheaper to film in your Theo's house than
exactly.
That's true too. But I don't know, Ricky, how did you feel about like the representation in the
I thought
movie?
It was good. There's a lot of parallels there. I mean, I don't want to say like I'm upset about it, but there was some stuff that I thought was a little pandering. And I was pandering a bit. But I think for the most part it worked. Like the family dynamic in particular.
What was pandering? Like, does it because it felt like so unrelatable to you, or it felt too relatable to you?
You're gonna make me pull out like a specific moment. Like the grandma on the machine gun, and she was like a revolution fighter. Like
Frank, do you have anything to add to that?
That's funny. I'll tell stories.
I don't like the notion that everyone that immigrated here came because of a terrible situation back home.
But why would you put the label as everyone on there?
No, but I think
we're just following this family.
Well, I think, but I think the movie makes it seem like, by its word, I'm pretty sure there was a few lines that said like everyone was like immigrated to Palmera City because of some devastation. At first I took it to be like maybe there was like some sort of Crisis on Infinite Earths kind of shit, or like some kind of big like OMAC or I don't know, not OMAC. What was it? Like Starro or just something weird that made them all have to kind of immigrate there. But then, like as the movie went on, I was like, oh, do you mean just war-torn countries of
like it would be nice to see
thing?
like a Latin family just come here because they want to
show up.
they want to come here. You know, hey, it's a
don't
better
think-
life, but it's not because their life at home was bad.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, I think
So you're saying
you
that
asked for my you don't
want the Mexicans to be the victims.
I'm not
yeah,
saying,
I don't think we always have to be the victims of that type of story.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I don't see it as that, and I'm just saying that's my take. Is I don't see it as they're victims. I think that just anybody that is telling a story of immigration is telling a story where they want to have a better life for their family than they had, whether or not it's the worst life ever. It's just like they are seeing America as a place to give their family a better chance than they had where they were living.
I think what you're saying is really noble, but I don't think the movie did a good job of portraying that aspect.
Fair enough.
I think the movie was really clunky with its depictions. Just kind of piggybacking off what Ricky said about victimhood, it was really clunky about its depictions of racism. It really rubbed me the wrong way when Jaime Reyes is like dressed up in a blazer, has his hair well groomed, and then like the lady's just unrecognizably racist to him for no reason. Oh, delivery's in the back. Like, what delivery? There's no delivery driver that's going to show up in a blazer like that.
Uber Eats. He
wasn't
executive.
carrying. He wasn't
executive.
Executive. There's executive.
He wasn't okay. That's a good example. I'll give you that. That's a good example. But then like when he waved to Susan Sarandon, and then they're all like, "Oh, they don't see people like us," and it's like, no, she was on the phone. She was on the phone. She was talking to somebody. That was an example of racism. That was an example of
offline. I had a similar conversation with Dennis.
I mean, in fairness, she did fire the girl for using her bathroom.
Yeah, but at that moment in time, you didn't know Susan Sarandon's deal
yet.
If
I took a shit in my boss's bathroom, I'd probably be fired.
Okay. Anyways,
we've all taken shits in our bosses.
I think it's funny because Ricky brought up the grandma earlier, and that was a funny one because I actually mentioned the same thing to Frank, and then Frank told me a story about a grandma that that actually fit perfectly with that character. Like you actually know a human being.
An ex-girlfriend of mine's grandma was talking about a revolution. I think it was in Chile or El Salvador or something like that. I think it was Chile because they're all Chile.
Yeah.
Well, she's from Chile. Yeah, I think it was in Chile. Anyway, but there's this one scenario where she described where she had to like fucking shoot some people with a shotgun. She was like hiding under her kitchen table, like just laying in wait with the shotgun for like the people to come in and try to like loot her house or do whatever they're gonna do. And then she had the shotgun and she was like blasting them and stuff. It was like, whoa, it's a crazy story. And this chick's like freaking 80 or 90, like talking about this story. So just picturing her as like old lady with the shotgun, that reminded me of just seeing, that gave me pictures, like they gave me flashbacks when I saw the old lady with the chain gun in Blue Beetle, because I was all like, oh shit, that could easily be that chick.
So for you, that knowing that, having that story in your mind made the grandma believable to you,
and
right?
Anecdotally, it made sense to me.
Yeah, anecdotally. And so what I'm saying is, I think that we should be careful about like, us, just the three of us saying what things were and weren't believable in this movie, or were pandering or felt too much, because it's all up to our own anecdotes, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately up to our own.
It's our own personal experiences. And so what I'm saying is, I told Frank the same thing Ricky said about the grandma. He told me that story, and then I realized that I was only one good story away from believing anything that didn't make sense to me, right? So that said, I do believe that you, me, and Ricky are only one good story away from hearing about a person being treated like that from a receptionist, or or any of the other things that didn't quite vibe with us.
Sure, but what I'm saying is, in that sense, in that regard, yeah, we are one good story away. Keyword one good story away. Whereas that racism, that blatant racism, that cartoonish racism happened multiple times in the movie. Like there was a bunch of stories that happened to one person, and I'm sure that there are stories of racism like in our lives that we've seen, but not collectively all at once, and not as not as like theatric as they were in this movie.
It's almost like it was a theatrical experience.
Interesting. No, and I'm cool with that. It's just
I will
if
forever
they
defend,
could find a way to smooth it out so that it's a little more realistic or a little more believable in the moment. I think that kind of gives us the audience and them as the writers and the actors like more of a challenge to kind of like show racism, but without
scary stories to tell in the dark.
Without turning it into Goosebumps.
I love that movie because again, that one of the main actors is Hispanic, and first 10 minutes of the film he asks a cop for help, and I'm like, that's the way this cop's gonna help him. And this cop is super racist towards him. I'm like, for a movie set in the 60s, that's it right there.
But see, that's the thing is I think that this movie, if it's guilty of anything, it's of throwing out a bunch of different moments that might not all be relatable to one person, but any individual moment that's in the movie could resonate with a different viewer.
It shows the entire dish at the wall.
And I think they were trying really hard to make everybody relate to some moment of racism in this movie so that they could understand, you know, the experience that Jaime and his family are going through in the movie. It's not all about racism.
It's one moment of the Mexican American experience.
Well, I think I think I agree with all that, and I think maybe if they limited some racism or limited some family moments instead of trying to kind of show multiple versions of it or racism or family from a different angle, I think they could have had a tighter movie if they would have done that.
You know what I would say I wish they had more superhero action.
That too. Okay. That seems fine. I wish this goes back to what I was saying about like I think you brought this up about like Venom or maybe Morbius. I don't remember what it was that you were talking about, but you were saying if this movie had come out in 2001, like we would all be applauding it. I'm pretty sure it was Venom, and like I feel the same way about this movie. Like if it came out like in like 1999 or something like that, I think we'd be like, oh man, that movie was sick, you know?
Yeah, but you know what's funny is I applaud this movie for, aside from the check boxes I listed and the bonus point it got for, you know, actually having a villain that's relatable or having a sad story. The other bonus point it gets from me is this is the best DC movie I've seen in a fucking while, guys. Like,
oh yeah,
that's the lowest bar you've ever set.
But it's true,
but it's
true,
right?
It's
true.
It's
yeah,
true.
That's the lowest.
And
bar.
so,
Aquaman comes out this year, so you might have a chance to beat it.
If this is
Aquaman will do it.
If this is the first step in a new direction, I'm okay with this. You know what I mean? Like it could have been a lot rockier than this. And
well, to the superhero side of things, it's a fine Blue Beetle. He looks like the Blue Beetle. He does Blue Beetle things.
The special effects are pretty good, right?
Jaime talks shit.
Palmera City
for something
is,
that was supposed to be for something that was supposed to be direct to HBO Max or to Max.
Really well done.
It looks really good. It looks really good. The colors are really cool. They pop. Like but one of my likes is that Palmera City is like super stylized. It has its own cool, it has its own like feeling to it. Like you feel something when you're in Metropolis, you feel something else when you're in Gotham and Palmera City. It's cool. It's its own thing.
And then also, like, I think it was kind of cool that it also paid tribute to the Blue Beetle legacy by having a whole section where his uncle Rudy and Jenny, like, they all go and learn about Ted Cord and how he has they embrace the classic golden age like Blue Beetle lore as well in this movie. So it ends up being a Blue Beetle experience for fans of new and old Blue Beetle. And if you like it enough and support it enough, we might get Ted Cord in the second one too. You know what I mean? So
sure.
I thought that was all really cool. How like it was just trying to like, I think it just sandwiched a lot in there, right? There's a lot of content in this movie, and I'm not gonna say that's a bad thing because I'm glad that they tried to do so much.
It gives me the same vibes as Ant-Man, and I think Ant-Man 1 ages pretty well. But
I could see
Ant-Man 1 did a lot of heavy lifting in terms of world building. For that franchise pays off. That I think all the until
The subsequent
Quantumania.
movies do not.
I was going to add to what both of you are saying about the world building, that this movie does better world building than like the main like Batman v Superman and stuff like that. I think this one and Shazam actually do the best of the DC world building.
Yeah.
I think maybe Aquaman comes in like a very distant third.
I like the world building in Black Adam also. I really do.
You know what? Black Adam did do some good world building too, actually.
It's
because it did introduce like JSA, and it showed like
and
Kondak and
Intergang
stuff.
and Intergang.
And Intergang, yep.
The weird thing with Black Adam is I think even with Shazam, Black Adam and Shazam are characters that, in my mind, live in this higher upper echelon where the shit they're dealing with is end of the world shit, right? And in my nerd brain, when end of the world shit is happening, where's the rest of the people? And when those things don't happen in those movies, I think it's weird.
Yeah.
But where Blue Beetle, especially Jaime, he's at that C-ish level.
Yeah, he's not quite street level, but he's not quite.
What's funny,
he's fighting his
villain. He is a world ender. He like Jaime actually is a weapon designed to destroy worlds, and you actually see it destroy planets in the movie, like as it's like going through them. So I think it's interesting that somehow this world-ending being managed to be this like weird C-list like tier character. But you know,
but that goes to what you were saying about like Jaime's demeanor. Like Jaime has like a gentle demeanor. He's not really a killer. He even convinces the Beetle to stop killing at a point in the movie when they sync up.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes on his like personality, I guess. So
yeah, that's true. It's true. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with him having this ultimate power that he just uses to help out the people in his city. So you know, like
what I'm curious about though is if Jaime is so peaceful, why are his family so bloodthirsty?
Because grandma went through some shit.
Grandma taught them all.
She taught them all. Yes, they get the Blue Beetle tank and they start murdering the crap out of people, right?
Oh, like man, that dude was impaled on the bottom of it like gum.
Yeah, he was. And poor Harvey Guillen
kills some people.
Harvey Guillen as Sanchez. Not actually Sanchez.
Not Sanchez, yeah.
That guy got splattered across the wall. And I was like, I had flashbacks of Shazam in the boardroom. I was like, what are you doing, movie? I thought you were a kid's movie. And now you're spraying.
HBO Max part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
That was like Kick-Ass when they microwaved that dude.
It was all over the place with some of the violence. I'm not trying to be a prude about it. I enjoy it. I just feel like it kind of betrayed the tone of the movie. Like, you know, like I think that's kind of I think that's what we're getting at about the whole movie, right? Is it's a little inconsistent tonally. Like there's some things, there's some heavy issues. There's mixed with tons of comedy because George Lopez, which by the way, awesome in this movie. I did not go into this movie expecting that at all. Yeah. I thought George Lopez was going to be the worst thing in this movie.
His stock's kind of gone down the past couple years.
Yeah. But I mean, like I feel like I don't know if I don't know if I can speak for every Mexican, but a lot of the Mexicans I know have an Uncle Rudy, not necessarily by name, but like by Uncle Rudy. You know
that. Yeah. You want to talk about the relatable part of this? Yes. We all have that person in our lives.
Uncle Rudy. Like I remember one time my Uncle Rudy kicked open a door and like knocked down like a couple of my tias who were standing by the door, and he's playing the fucking accordion with his like cowboy hat, and he's just fucking rocking out with his accordion, and like they're all on the floor like horrified and shit. It was great. I could picture that guy saying that.
We're saying Uncle Rudy is very relatable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Do we have any other? Do you guys have check boxes that this movie also hit besides the ones that we already went over?
I don't know. I have a couple like confusing parts. I think my main thing was Palmera City and the world building, and I like the reference to the past Blue Beetle. So you've already covered, and you've covered Uncle Rudy. So I think those are my main hits. That the movie satisfied those things. I think the only thing I have is Scarab's afterlife mode. I don't know. That was like one of the confusing things. The soundtrack, I wasn't sure if it was good or bad. I'm still trying to decide that, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not sure how
like
good the soundtrack was.
Tech riffs.
I like the credits. I liked the neon of it all.
Yeah.
Like I like that they were definitely embracing the Miami Vice kind of style.
Yeah, the pinks and the blues. I think the aesthetic was really good.
I think the body horror of what the Blue Beetle is and what it does, I think that's cool.
I definitely enjoyed that.
It was pretty cool.
But I think Uncle Rudy's reaction to that, I think, really sold that body horror scene.
I will say this. I watched that movie with my mom and my aunt, who are well in their 70s, and those women were quite entertained during that scene. Yes.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. It was shocking, but Uncle Rudy kept it from being horrifying.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
No, yeah.
he
Definitely.
really, and I think if we would have had Uncle Rudy in the boardroom in Shazam, that would have been a very different experience.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, you're right. Actually, now that you say that, when it comes out, I'm gonna edit a scene where it takes out all the Uncle Rudy, and I want to see what that scene looks like.
Just dub in his scene from the from the Scarab, and just have him playing over the boardroom. Es going in his culo, and like it's culito. Yeah. All
That's
that.
funny.
Just,
what is up with DC and nudity? Like, they love their nudity in their movies. Like,
well,
the Flash had, like,
every superhero,
Helen
you get the
Blue.
one shirtless scene.
I don't remember. Well, yeah, shirtless scene, yeah, but like DC loves nudity. Like, you have Ezra Miller just walking around.
It's true.
And they have in Wonder Woman, they have what's his name? Steve. Oh yeah, not Steve Rogers. What's his name?
Steve Trevor.
Steve Trevor. Thanks.
Steve Trevor, yeah.
Forgot Steve Trevor. They have him walking around with his donk.
You're working out for 6 months out of the year. You gotta show it off for the
Steve Trevor's donk changed Wonder Woman to straight. Like, just the sight of that beautiful thing.
It's true.
And I think DC likes to do things like that. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird.
DC is what do you think operating on a different level than Marvel, and you just have to accept that even if you think by the trailers that they're going to give you a Marvel experience, you have to be like a little cautious when you go into that, because they're not going to give you a Marvel experience. They're going to give you something kind of like it, but then there'll be nudity, and there will be body horror, and there will be weird racist.
DC is tropes. At least for the recent stretch of DC, they're for Marvel and of the recent Marvel stuff, I think they've been operating at a very neutral. I think the movies are relatively safe.
But I think that's
they've flattened them out. If there's like a dangerous curve, they've kind of like flattened out over.
But I think
DC is a wild card.
They needed it. They need to.
Where the past few DC movies are shit. Let's be real. But
wait, what?
Yes, the Flash
all
is
of
bad.
them.
But I'm saying with DC, in my opinion, like, you getting a slightly above average or a below average movie. You're not getting like they're taking swings, and whether they hit or not, we find out later, but I do appreciate the swings that they take.
Sure. I think my main takeaway is that, like, DC movies should make movies as if they weren't going to get a sequel ever. Just make a nice self-contained movie. And I know you disagree, Dennis, with the Joker, but I think that was a good step in the right direction, because that movie, if anything, felt like it was not getting a
good movie.
And then once it hit that Billy mark, they were like, yeah, we got to put Lady Gaga in it and give it a sequel. And make it a musical.
But I do agree with you that they should make movies like they might not get a sequel.
Sure.
Because like whether or not you like the Joker, it is a complete story that doesn't, with minus Batman.
Good point. I mean,
and actually, that doesn't set up anything.
Made it tighter if you omitted
outside
Batman.
of Blue Beetle. And it doesn't set up new Blue Beetle. It doesn't set up new DC stuff. It sets up new Blue Beetle stuff. They're not. They're not.
Well, they talk about Batman again. Minus Batman.
No, Superman and Batman exist in this universe.
But they're just they're mentioned the same way. Like, they're just characters in these movies. Like, they're just characters in this universe, as opposed to like he finds.
You're right.
He sees the bat signal.
You're the one trying to tell us there's a Green Lantern in the movie too.
The director said there was.
Actually, Ricky, that's a good point, because like they don't bring up like, oh yeah, this Superman got to see fucking grandma's peach tea in the courtroom before
you don't even see Superman on TV.
Yeah. They didn't bring up specifics. They just brought up that a Superman does exist.
And Batman's a fascist.
And Batman's a fascist, apparently. But like, based on the context of the conversation, like, people have been up in arms about that line, but like, in the context of the movie, I got the impression that Uncle Rudy doesn't know what fascist means. Like, just based on what he was saying afterwards. Like, he has a line right afterwards that makes me really believe that he's just using words that he doesn't know. And I think there's other scenes too where he goes off the deep end in his like tinfoil hat, like
I don't know.
conspiracies.
I kind of totally see how Batman's a fascist from certain perspectives.
I mean, if
like,
I was
really
living in the
do.
DC
I really
universe
do.
and I just saw a dude dressed as a bat killing a lot of brown people on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Clayface? Like Clayface?
I mean,
I'm saying like it's all perspective, right? And I don't think Uncle Rudy's wrong for having that perspective.
it's like that line in Peacemaker. Like, you don't kill the majority of white people. Like,
I'll kill less brown people. Is that what he says? Or something?
Yeah, exactly. So I got Uncle Rudy's point when he said that. It doesn't make me less of a Batman fan. It just makes me understand like somebody else's perspective on Batman and why that person would choose to idolize Blue Beetle instead.
All right,
because Blue Beetle is campy and he's fun. You know?
If we're taking that line of reasoning, then I hate that line. I think it's stupid. I think it was dumb. But if we're taking the line of that Rudy was ignorant of what he was saying and just being like a conspiracy
like
theorist,
Batman,
then I think it's funny. And
I choose to believe Rudy was not ignorant at all.
When Batman saves the day, he's not on the cover of the paper. He just saves the day with no fanfare. So all you know, as a person of color living in that world, someone got this bat dude locked me up.
Yeah. Or
he locked up my uncle.
Or a Batman broke into a prison today and burned a bat symbol on a man. And more news at 11. You know,
we just said there was nondescript Batman character. For all we know, this Batman could have kicked a white dude off a church steeple or something. You know, we don't know what Batman it is.
But that's right. That's all we know is that this Batman could be perceived by a fascist to some, or as a fascist to some, and that's fine. Like he can fix that perception in his movie in 5 years. You know, whatever. It's cool. Or 3 years, 2 years, whatever.
Can't do it with the Batman lurking around, because as long as Bat exists.
But if you're back to your point earlier, you're talking about movies that just exist on their own. I think the Batman's a fine Batman movie.
Yeah, I agree.
It's getting a sequel, sure, but it's
if
that's all we got. That's a cool little slice of Batman.
But this was the best movie that we've gotten since that one from DC,
yes,
and it's been a while. That's been a while.
How many years has it been since the?
It's been a year and a half.
2021, right?
Yeah,
the Batman.
2 is the Batman.
No, Batman. The Batman was last year.
Yeah,
that was last year.
It says 2022.
It was last year.
It was. Okay, yeah.
March last year.
March. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a year and a half.
I really think they missed an opportunity. They should have named the sequel "The Batman Returns." I think it should have been that. That would have been sick.
All right, we got B+ from Ricky. I think Frank is in agreement.
I give it a solid B. Solid B.
I'm gonna give it a B too. I think I really enjoyed Blue Beetle. I probably enjoyed it more than these last 2 weeks episodes of Harley Quinn. I will say I don't think I enjoyed it more than my Adventures with Superman. But I will say that it is a pretty cool time to be a DC fan right now, honestly. And that's coming from mostly Marvel podcasts. Like, I'm actually enjoying a lot of the stuff that DC's putting out there right now. So,
what's the over/under Aquaman comes out this year?
It's not. It's not.
Way. It's not coming over for
everything else. Got pushed back.
Christmas show, right,
bro? We're like
still on deck for Christmas.
We're a month away from American Gladiator coming back. That's what's going on.
No, that thing's like I bet you it comes out in like May of next year.
It's all the things that you're excited to see, they ain't coming out this year, unless the animated stuff. Yes, animated stuff.
Get the Marvels. The Marvels come out.
Oh yeah, the Marvels will come out this year. I think.
The Marvels will come out. Yeah,
I think they got a November release, right?
Yeah, but they were originally meant to come out
it was supposed to be like last year, right?
No,
they changed it.
It was supposed to be last year, but
it was. You're right. Yeah. And then it was supposed to be like the same weekend as Barbie or something like that.
It was supposed to be Comic-Con.
Oh man, that would have been calamity if it came out the same week as Barbie, I think.
But anyways, I think
what do we got next week? We got
so I hit you up. I hit you up about this one, and it's just a little tease. And let's see if Frank gets excited about this one. But
it was in the planning document, Ricky. Did you not read page 37 of the planning document?
a new announcement recently that Henry Cavill is attached to a new nerd property, and that inspired me to want to revisit an old classic with Ricky next week. Apparently, Henry Cavill is attached to the reboot of Highlander, and so I think Ricky, I think you're gonna like Highlander a lot more than a lot of the old movies.
He has a sword.
We'll see. I don't think Ricky's gonna like it. I think he'll get lost at Ramirez. I think once.
I think we're gonna do it though. We're gonna do it.
You know what? Clancy Brown, I bet, will save it for Ricky. Clancy Brown's pretty cool.
Yeah, Clancy Brown's pretty.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
All right.
But you're welcome to watch that one as well, Frank, and then chime in when we do the show.
I'm allowed to watch any media. Excellent, thank you.
You can watch any media you want, and then chime in with us. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Highlander next week, and Ricky's not excited, and that makes me even more excited.
Yeah, that makes me want to tune in. Actually, to be honest,
see,
football's back next week. Am I going to enjoy it more than football?
No,
you're not going to enjoy it more than football.
I will. I'll enjoy the hell out of it.
Right. Yeah,
I'd enjoy Harley Quinn, the 40 seconds that I did see of season 4, better than football.
Just curious, without spoiling it for Ricky, though, are you excited about the idea of Henry Cavill rebooting Highlander?
I want to see a win for Henry Cavill in a nerd project. I think he was good in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., but that's like too obscure. I want to see him in a popular nerd project, and I want to see him succeed.
You know, a lot of people love him as The Witcher.
They do, but like unfortunately they deviated too much from the source material and too much from what the fans actually wanted.
Yeah.
For people to actually appreciate it. I like The Witcher. I like Yennefer in The Witcher. I think she was well represented. But and from what I saw, I like Geralt, but like I think I don't think anyone everything else, like they changed the story and I was like, why the fuck did they do that? Like that's stupid.
Yeah. Well, in fairness,
so was he. That's why he left.
We can talk about this way more next week when after Ricky's actually seen the movie. It's available on Peacock or Amazon Prime, I believe, if you want to watch it either way. So go check it out, Ricky. And anybody watching this between now and then, feel free to rewatch The Highlander because we're going to talk all about it next week. Thank you so much, Frank, for joining us for this extra long episode.
Frank.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Ricky too.
And Ricky, thanks for having Ricky.
Yeah. We out of here?
Yep.
Peace out, true believers.
See y'all.
Enough said.